the unknown. So get inside your soul and dig a little deeper. Unlock the unknown. Discovering the truth will make you feel freer. Like a raging bull gives pain. Mysteries are hurricanes. The truth you seek is unknown. Unlock the unknown. I won't accept it what the skeptics even have to say. They disconnected, redirected, and it's so cliche. So much evidence is building up in our possession. So many elements control the answer to this question. From the page of myth to actuality, to unlock a locked door, rest the magic key. Unlock the unknown. So deep inside your soul and dig a little deeper. Unlock the unknown. Discovering the truth will make you feel freer. Like a raging bull gives pain. These mysteries are hurricanes. The truth you seek is unbeknown. Unlock the unknown.
You have 77 counties in Oklahoma because reports in them, and 66 counties.
Cheyenne Indians call it Maps of Vista, meaning giant monster.
These are some of the best cast footprints that I've seen in a very, very long time.
North Canadian River Project, we basically focus our investigations on the North Canadian River or central Oklahoma.
So we're getting ready to go on a hike on the Shepherd Point Trail, and you can go ahead and put the ruler down, Evans. Evans saw this interesting track here. It's just feet from his fire pit on his campsite. We're camping at Hayburn Lake.
Let's see. That kind of looks like the big toe up in there.
It's an interesting track, and this would be similar, almost similar to the No Bro guys were camping out a couple weeks ago at Honubby, and they had a print in the ashes of their fire. Now these aren't quite.
So if you set that as the end of the heel, that's 12 inches.
Okay. So we got about a 12-inch track here.
Stepped right in some wet ashes there.
Yeah, and like I was saying, similar to the track the No Bro guys found just a couple weeks ago in Honubby. They had a track, and Jim actually casted it, and it stepped in the ashes of their fire. So it's kind of similar situation. Pretty neat. And we're not even on the hike yet. All right, here is Evans and I, and we are getting ready to hike the Shepherd Cove Trail, and he's checking out the trail map, and we will show you bits and pieces of what we find along the way. So we're barely getting down here on the trail, down the trail a little bit, and we're already at the water. And just little nooks like this, especially like maybe further from the trail, like on the other side of the lake or something, away from the campsites. Bigfoot could come in here and get a drink, sneak in here and take advantage of the lake, the water source. Here, it looks like it's kind of wedged in that little tree. So with that, I mean, is that something caused from wind? I mean,
But you know, there's no larger tree around where that looks like it fell across it. So why? It almost looks like it's tucked under that little tree. How would wind do that? Almost looks like there's a vine over there and it's kind of wrapped around. I don't see any evidence of where something's fallen across it to hold it down. I mean, there's no big logs laying there, or...
We got the creek right below us.
Yep, definite water source.
So just a few feet from that tree arch, Evan spotted this washed out bridge. And we're trying to make our way back to this arch, try to figure out kind of what's going on. It's just back behind these trees right here.
Okay, so that wild rose is growing up into that tree, but it doesn't look like it's being held down by it.
Okay.
But it's growing out to it. It doesn't look like it's intentionally been wrapped around it.
Right.
So something caused that tree to bow over, but it looks like something natural that happened because there's nothing really holding the top of the tree down. We just saw this tree off of the trail a few yards here. It's just interesting how this curve here, and then the lichen and moss has grown in this spot, and it's just kind of odd. It kind of looks like a marker of some kind. Just interesting how it's grown, and then on the north side of the tree here, how the lichen and moss has grown. But you kind of wonder if it's some kind of if the tree was modified when it was young to grow like this as some kind of marker, maybe either a Native American or something else. But anyway, just pretty cool. Just really stands out. And it's pointing downhill. There is a nice little freshwater creek down there below, but it's interesting how that's been bent. Now, it's still alive. That's a green tree. And it's been that way for a while because it's got one main branch growing straight up. But something caused that tree to grow, manipulated that tree to grow and it was still living. There is the top out of a big dead tree back here behind it, and you see possibly it fell on top of it, rolled this way when it was young, but there's new growth coming out on this tree. This tree is still living. So, has it been manipulated as a trail marker or as a marker pointing toward water?
Here's another tree bow. Evans just spotted it.
We can take a closer look and see if it's been manipulated.
And it's also near the washed out bridge.
It is near the washed out bridge. It's near the water supply. That's kind of interesting.
So it's on the right, from our vantage point, it's on the right, and the other one was to the left of the washed out bridge behind all this stuff. So we'll go that way and check that out. We're standing on the bridge and getting close to that tree bow, and now we're noticing there's two.
Yeah, they come together. Now that's weird. They're old, both I think. No, those trees have new growth on them too. But why? It's interesting that they grow toward each other. You wonder if years ago they were tied down or tied toward each other, if that was some kind of marker. Because here again, we're at this nice little freshwater spring here. That's an eastern collared lizard, or a mountain boomer. It's a young one. Really pretty. He's got his breeding colors. Really pretty. That's the Oklahoma State reptile. Eastern collared lizard. You can see why they call him a collared lizard. He's got the bright orange and black collars around his neck there, bands around his neck. They can get quite large. They can get up to, with their tail length, they can get up to 1 foot long.
Woo! This is kind of fun, actually. Actually, this could be beneficial because if we were doing any kind of walking or anything like that, it'll make the leaves and stuff on the ground wet and saturated. You can sneak up. I used to like going deer hunting after a rain like this because you can walk through the woods. Wow, they're silent. Look at that. The canopies.
Oh, yeah.
kind of got the water running off that end. See how it's weighted down one end?
Hey guys, this is the Squatch Ranger blooper reel, and I'm in my car. We got camp set up for the weekend, and we were getting ready to cook supper, and then it started sprinkling, and then the rain and the wind picked up a little bit. We took our camping chairs under the little canopy thing that Tom brought, and now it's pouring rain, and we were all, you know, having fun, enjoying the rain pouring. It's kind of a cool experience. And then probably the closest I hope I ever get to lightning in my life just happened somewhere near our campsite, Shepherd's Point. The loudest thunder crack, the brightest, like the whole sky was white. I didn't see a streak of lightning, but I could just see a white light. And it was loud, and it echoed, and it was somewhere close to where we are. So a lot of us guys, we decided to retreat into our vehicles, and so I'm gonna hunker down in my car until this storm starts to slow down. So anyway, I guess this is the blooper reel. It's fun. It's kind of fun. It's an experience. You know, I don't want to get struck by lightning, but yeah. So the storm just passed through. Here's our campsite. We survived. It's a little flooded right here at the right there at the back of my car. There's the lake, our view. Hey guys, this is Ryan with the NOBRO. We're having a weekend of NOBRO, the NCRP, and the Red Dirt Cryptids investigation. All three groups are kind of joining this weekend, and we're having a little camp out. We're actually around the Hayburn Lake area. We're checking out a sighting from back in December 2019. Last night we were camping out. We actually got a single howl, a single call vocalization, and we got a lot of coyote sounds too that we heard throughout the night from our campground. But anyway, we are on scene at a sighting location. This is from our NOBRO files. Number 106, former law enforcement officer sees something in the trees, December of 2019, Creek County, Oklahoma, Class A daytime sighting. Saturday, December 14th, 2019, at or around 8:30 a.m., this eyewitness was driving westbound on E0740 road, County Road that is, near one of the parking areas for the Hayburn Wildlife Management Area. The witness described seeing two fawns and one doe crossing the road north to south. This was just past a small creek of water that comes out of Roland Creek. He said that it was someone he thought may be hunting the deer. When he drove past, it was moving away from the tree line. He remembers stopping and watching this person, in quotes, cross an open area swiftly. It crossed the open area swiftly, and it had dark brown hair, which at first he thought was a hunter's ghillie suit. He said that whomever this was crossed an open area and into another tree line to the northwest. The only description is that it looked to be 6 to 7 feet tall, covered in thick hair, no neck, very muscular, very long arms, and had a thick torso. He said it never turned its head and moved swiftly without any problems navigating the area. He said that it appeared it knew he was there and didn't bother to look in his direction. So this is the exact spot, guys. We drove back down in here. This is a great area, great habitat. I keep saying it all weekend long. I think Heyburn Lake area is like a well-hidden secret for Sasquatch activity. It is so cool back here. It is turkey season right now. We got to be careful. We're going to take a look around in this spot. We got other members on the other side of the creek. We're going to look around. If we see any signs, we'll bring them to you. Thanks, guys. A deer crossing.
You can see where they try to come up right here.
He's filming for his Red Dirt Cryptids Facebook page and YouTube channel. But yeah, here's a, you can see that he's finding a lot of deer tracks down through here, and he's looking for tracks down there on that edge of the creek. So Brian spotted this game trail pathway down to the creek the animal's been using, and he spotted about halfway up it we might have a possible track. We're just trying to look through the
terrible track, but
we can't get over there. But
wow.
I can zoom in, and that's what it looks like.
It looks like it's just the toes and the ball of the
Here, come over here and look at it. Come behind me.
Oh, that does look pretty decent, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, your camera gets in a lot closer than mine.
There's this interesting tree we just found with like a red color on it. Kind of starts up there, and then it just trickles down. So why is it discolored like that? Kind of a reddish brown, a fungus. What in the world is going on with this tree?
Okay, this could be something, could be nothing. You know, I don't want to be one of those guys that freaks out over everything they find in the forest. But we've got a live tree here, okay, and the top is broken off. It is stripped down to here, the bark is. So whatever it was broke and fell this way, away, stripping down the bark. It should have fallen down here. It's not here. It should be here. It's not here. There's a couple of logs here, but they don't match up. What am I trying to say? I don't know. You be the judge.
Brian just spotted this bone wedged in this tree. Dang.
We didn't place it there.
It was literally just wedged in this tree right here. And we're on our way back to the vehicles.
For the record,
Do you know what type of force it takes to break a leg bone like this? And can you get close, Ryan?
Yeah.
Do you see any gnawing marks from teeth from like small predators trying to chew through that leg bone? That's interesting.
Very.
Might hang on to that.
And it's just interesting how it was in that spot.
You can see right here where the rodents have been nibbling on it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is by no means fresh. Anyway.
So we're driving along on our way back to the campsite, and Jody saw either a hunter or a dark figure, very big, she said, on this side of the road.
Lots of fields with new growth. It's not heavily traveled on these dirt roads, very few homes. It all runs along the wildlife management area. I'm hoping we get some good results today. On our way back, not sure if I saw a hunter or what I saw, but it was a dark figure walking slowly through the trees. We did back up and try to find what I saw. No such luck, but got the blood pumping. It wasn't extremely tall. The reason I say maybe a hunter, so maybe 6 foot tall. Lean build. Just walking slowly. My gut says probably a hunter, but you never know.
This is Evans. We're on the No-Bro Hayburn Lake Expedition Weekend, April 9th, 10th, 11th, 2021. Today, this is Saturday, the 10th. We are out at Hayburn Lake Wildlife Management Area. We have been looking at a particular area here on the west side of the lake where there's been a burned over, prescribed burn area and a giant food plot where there was a reported sighting, road crossing. So Jody and I and Tom Crabtree are working our way down the edge of this food plot and burned over area. Tom is back in the woods there, and Jody's just on the outside edge of the food strip here. We were coming down the food plot strip a few minutes ago, heard a loud snap behind us as we were stopped to look at a mud puddle. We found some possible prints. We'll get photos of those in a bit, but it's just a beautiful area, a huge area. The wildlife management area here is humongous. And so this is where a person saw, what initially caught their attention was 3 deer, and then they saw a hairy figure come out of the wood line after the deer and reported it to No-Bro. So we're in northeast Oklahoma, up around the like between Kellyville, Bristow area, Hayburn Lake. There's been other reports, sighting reports from this area over the years. A hunter here on the WMA reported seeing a red-haired Bigfoot. And then there's been some other road crossing sightings, things like that. So we had severe thunderstorms last night, and then a cold front right behind that. So today, wind is out of the north, about 15 to 20. Temperatures drop down into the 40s. So it's been a nice, cool, refreshing walk this morning.
night number 2, and I'm putting up my trail camera. Picked a spot just off the main trail. Gonna see if anything walks by tonight.
Evans Bailey, Ryan White, and Jody Chisholm. No Bro Campout Weekend Expedition at Hayburn Lake, April 9th, 10th, and 11th. It's Saturday evening, April 10th. Approximately.
Evans is deploying his game camera. Found a good spot. We're hearing turkeys off in the distance. So this is night 2. We'll come get them in the morning, and we'll see if we get any action. And we are in the process of putting up the thermal imager on the car, and we're going to do a night ride and scan tree lines with Tom's awesome thermal that he has from like a 2003 Cadillac Seville, and he's setting up. Tom, you have anything to say real quick?
Well, this is the first time maiden voyage with the laptop. It's a little big, cumbersome, but I think it's going to be better resolution on the recordings, and we can record with us as well. So it's going to be it's a new setup, but I think it's going to work. It just takes more than one person to do it, and it's just it's an experimental deal right now. So we're playing with it tonight, and we'll probably do some more recording as we're driving down the road. But you know, it's the beginning of something different. You know,
Ryan, me, and Tom and Jody in the car. We're going to be the first team. We're just leaving the campsite, and we're going to go out on some back roads, some county roads around the Heyburn Lake area. This is the first time we've ever done anything like this. We got Tom's thermal set up on the laptop, of course, and we're going to scan the tree lines.
now what I've learned, if you'll keep it in front of you instead of to the side, because when you do the side, it's going real fast.
Yeah.
Now say if we
Not too far down the road, we decided to pull over and stop at a bridge going over Polecat Creek. Not too long after that, Evans from team number 2 in Brian's vehicle spotted something swaying back and forth and hiding behind a tree. You can clearly see the heat signature in this shot. Something is behind this tree, moving back and forth, hiding from us. And it was really neat because this was the only creature that was unknown throughout the night. In this shot, from Tom's thermal imager on the vehicle, you can see the same exact heat signature in that same spot. But it's not moving back and forth in this shot. By the time I got the camera on it, it stopped moving back and forth. It must have been hunkering down and trying to hide from us, but it couldn't hide completely using the thermal imager.
There's some more over here.
wow, look at them all. Y'all see all them deer out in that field?
Negative, we had that car coming up behind us.
Sorry, I wish you'd have let me know and I didn't know.
We're trying to find the radio. We've dropped the radio.
Hey, there's about...
Speaking of dropping a radio, that's probably what Brian would have done if he was holding a radio when he saw this figure through the thermal imager. You see, Tom's thermal imager has a 4-second delay when you press the record button. So, they weren't able to capture what the creature appeared to look like before it started recording. Before it recorded, the team thought they saw a human, a creature that looked very, very human-like. But by the time the camera started rolling, the creature had turned to a side profile, and they were easily able to tell that this was a deer. But there for a few moments, it was very exciting. The team thought they got that $1 million shot of a Bigfoot. But nonetheless, we had a lot of fun driving the back roads around Heyburn Lake and using Tom's thermal imager. It worked so great.
We are going back to this track that I found this morning when we were hiking and retrieving the game cams and the audio recorders. We're gonna go check out, find this print again, maybe cast it.
This is a lot newer than the rest of the track. Whatever this was put a lot of weight down on the heel. So that's something different. This a rain ago, whatever it was. That's big. Let's see how big it is. Point of reference. That is a 12-inch foot. But you see how this is up a little?
Mm-hmm.
That rise right there. That makes me think that might actually be legit, because that rise is in between the toes and the the ball of the foot there, and it's kind of like that little area. That rise kind of tells me that this person wasn't wearing a shoe.
Yeah.
This rise right here, sticking up quite a ways. This track is 5 or 6 inches wide. I will call it 5.5, and it is 12 inches long. That's a pretty wide track, man, for a human. But I'm not going to say it couldn't be human, but what human would be walking around out here barefooted?
So our consensus is that it's not impossible for someone to be walking barefoot through here, but very highly improbable. So we're going to go ahead and cast this, if nothing else, for practice, and just take a look at it, see how it turns out. But yeah, that right toe, that big toe, what I thought was a big toe, definitely caught my eye. And yeah, it's 2 separate occasions, because the body of the foot has litter on it, and that toe, that supposed toe area, is a little bit newer, fresher. Okay, here we have Brian mixing the plaster, getting the perfect water to plaster ratio. He's using plaster that he bought from Hobby Lobby, and this is just one of the early stages of casting a track.
I mean, if you can do this without getting it all over you. Thicker. Well, a smart person would have a clothespin that you would stick in there, or a paper clip, excuse me. That way you could hang it on the wall when you're done. But you always make sure that when you're done you take a Sharpie and you write on the back of it.
to the cast site. Brian camouflaged it and pulling away the debris he left. Let's see if it's hardened any. It should have.
It's kind of like checking Mama's cornbread. You stick your knife. It is. Everybody's got the method here, but crack it. One of the things that I think is a smart thing to do, and I'm sure that
dig up underneath it.
There's armchair people out there.
Yeah.
Because I'll actually take my knife and I'll run it around. And what I'm doing is I'm making a kind of a separation from the rest of the dirt. So if there's any suction cup, you know, if it wants to like suction cup into the ground, it's a lot less chance, and it's not going to pull. All right, and then you would just kind of get under here and gently.
You know, I might have a brush in my pack that we can brush that water off, that dirt off of it.
Wide.
The width of this print alone kind of speaks for itself. There you go, Ryan.
Well, thank you, sir. We even got it labeled. The date for 11/21 Hayburn.